I'm going to get right to the point. So I'm here. I want to thank the president of the Afro-Descendant Nation, Ms. Mukaram. I want to thank the vice president of the Afro-Descendant Nation and all of the senators and representatives in the nation. I want to thank the ambassador, hardworking ambassador, Sister Tahita and Sister Khalida, who have been working towards this most important day. To all of the other leaders who are on the line to come on, I see the honored Miss Deidre Farmer Paleman. Certainly want to get to her as fast as we can. Sister Leader Ifia Wangaza, who is a legend in this struggle. Anxious to hear from her. Sister Elena Porter, human rights expert and advocate. Anxious to hear from her soon. A strong brother who will be coming up shortly after me, Brother Ramzu Yunus, human rights policy officer. Happy to hear from him, and the honored attorney Harriet Abubakar. So Sister Queen Melina Abdullah, who's in New York, here attending the funeral for some of the Panther greats. So many greats to come on, so let me get right to the point. I want to thank the Honorable Silas Muhammad for having the confidence to allow me to help him in his vision to fulfill the mandate of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that we must have a land and territory of our own. And I want to thank the Honorable Silas Muhammad for helping as an apostle of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to help by God's grace, fulfill prophecy in this hour. That prophecy is reparations. And if you want to know more about the Honorable Silas Muhammad, you should listen to this webinar. Pay close attention to this webinar, because this webinar, who's in it and what is being said and what is being done, represents the program and the platform of, yes, the Afro-Descendant Nation, but also the will of the Honorable Silas Muhammad. And we are here as a secular operation, not a religious operation. The Afro-Descendant Nation is a secular operation. It is comprised of religious persons, non-religious persons, and we are here to help the reparations movement. We are not trying to take over the reparations movement. We are not trying to dominate the reparations movement. We are here to do what we've been mandated to do by our God and the ancestors, and that's play our role. We have a program of action and a strategic plan. And right now, today, we're talking about one point in this strategic plan. And that point in this strategic plan is a plan of action that we've been talking about for at least 40 years. According to our research, and according to the experts, for at least 40 or maybe 50 years or more, since the time of the Honorable Imari Obadele and the founding of the Republic of New Africa, since the early days of the Honorable Chokwe Lumumba, who's my mentor, and in the early days of the Honorable Khalid Muhammad, of whom I represent, we have been talking about the subject of a plebiscite, a national vote, a referendum that expresses the will of our people so that we can be official, so that our reparations struggle and our fight for self-determination can move forward. And so in this regard of our subject today, which is the Black Agenda 2024, we have an agenda, but we have a method and a vehicle that we're driving forward to get to that agenda. We're not here just to explain damages today and what has been done to us. I'm sure we'll hear a lot about damages, but we hear damages in forums and meetings over and over again. We honor the reparations movement as it exists, but it has been too bogged down into diplomacy, meetings, conversation, paperwork. Paperwork is important. Documents are important. Meetings are important. Teach-ins are important. But this is a teach-in directed towards a specific plan of action designed to get to the goal. We must have full and complete reparations, not a reparations platform, but we must have the reparations. We must have the self-determination. If it's not going to be given to us, then we're going to have to assert self-determination on our own, take stronger action and take it. Okay, so I'm going to get into the ballot right now because there's been a lot of talk about the ballot. Since October the 7th, we have talked about here and in many years prior, according to my research, the Afro-descendant nation for at least 3 years has been talking about the conducting of a national ballot or a plebiscite. Again, in the Republic of New Africa, who we honor dearly, for decades, they have mandated that a plebiscite or a national vote be held. Many different human rights organizations and leaders who come on this line, they all agree that a plebiscite should be held. Prior to today, there's an intense debate on whether this was the right time. Should it be delayed till later? Should we continue to explore? Should we continue to survey? Rather than moving and declaring the plebiscite or the ballot unilaterally on our own, we took 3 months to meet, to confer, to talk, because we respect you other leaders. We respect In Cobra, who I bring you greetings from today. In Cobra sends you their greetings there in other meetings. And so after due consideration, after conferring, after dialoguing, after listening, after respecting our fellow leaders, a firm decision had to be made on whether we would go forth and put this ballot forth to the masses of our people, and that decision has been made. It has actually been ordered to me as the national conductor serving in this government to, after gaining consent from the majority of the leaders in this movement, though not every single one of them, the overwhelming majority have agreed that we must go forward. And this ballot that they're going to put on the screen right now, the ballot that is being put on the screen is a reflection of the overwhelming majority of leaders in this movement right now. And so if you can bring the ballot up, and we are going to get right into explaining the ballot. And before we go, and moving fast, because I want to hear y'all and get your endorsement and get your opinions. But this ballot is critical. This is not a theoretical exercise. The ballot at minimum is a vehicle. The ballot is at minimum a vehicle to get reparations and self-determination. We have a mandate to unite with other organizations and leaders that we are fulfilling. This is not just about the Afro-descendant nation. This is not limited to making you call yourself an Afro-descendant. We're going to get to that. The Afro-descendant nation is a part of a body of leaders that are conducting perhaps the most important action that we've taken to date, one that is long overdue. It's past overdue. We intend, with the help of our partners and our people, to gather at least 1 million votes this year. And if it takes 24 or 36 months to get to 1 million votes, as long as that leads to us achieving our goal, we are willing to fight that hard and to fight that long. We must have the consent of our people. We must raise an army. When in gathering these 1 million votes for this ballot or referendum that I'm about to explain, those 1 million registrants are a standing army, a standing movement. There are 1 million persons that will form the body of the army that will fight organize and do what it takes to achieve full and complete reparations and declare self-determination and take the action that we must take. Dr. King, as much as we criticize his integration philosophies, we must recognize on the eve of his birthday that he was a man of action, and that he was a man that you must pick up that newspaper and turn on your television because he took action. All of the preachers did not agree with what Dr. King was doing, but Dr. King at some point had to move out, and history has been changed forever. And so we are declaring this vote, and we are declaring this vote not as you see here on Google technology. This is a demonstration, and we have sent this ballot to many of you on Google, and matter of fact, many votes have come back already just overnight. They're coming in, showing the interest in the ballot. But we have, and it will come up in the course of this meeting, you're going to be shown that we have the best of technology, the best of professional voting technology that we are making a significant financial investment to in order to make our vote credible and certified. And it is. Okay. And so I just want to say that in opening and trying to move fast to explain to you that we have sought out diligently diplomacy and consent and consensus to launch this election. We are launching this election with a majority of the leaders in agreement. We cannot turn around or turn back, and we must have action. And that's what I'm here for. And that's what I'm here to help to do. And I hope I don't offend anybody, but at this point in time, we must have action. So let's go forward. This ballot here that is going to our nation, ballot question number 1 must be on the ballot. And it's a simple yes or no question to be put to the masses of the 40 million of our people. And with your help, we can put it to more than 1 million. It could go to all 40 million. Ballot question number 1. Do you declare your right to receive full and complete reparations? We want that vote from the masses of our people, and we have to have it. Ballot question number 1. We want that vote. We want that contact. We want that consent. And we want the 1 million or more who agree to this vote to sign on to fight the war for reparations, not just for the Afro-descendant nation, but for every organization that needs help in this fight. Cam Howard, Ramzu Yunus, Black Lives Matter. We're saying to you today, if you help us with this ballot and with this vote, our contacts are your contacts. Our progress that we make in our areas that we're fighting on, that same progress can be for the areas that you're fighting on, because we must have a united fighting front. Okay, so ballot question number 1, do you declare your right to receive full and complete reparations? Yes or no? Next question. Ballot question number 2. Do you declare your right to self-determination? Do you consent and declare your rights to have complete control over your own affairs as a people and to be able to govern yourself? Yes or no? We want a simple answer on self-determination. Hold it right there on self-determination. Because as Brother Ramzu has said, we don't have to, no one is going to give us self-determination. You determine yourself to take self-determination. And we have many examples in the past where we have taken self-determination. We have the highest levels of self-determination that I'm going to get to. They're called the highest levels of self-determination. Well, what are those levels? A separate land and territory of our own. There are highest levels of political autonomy. And there's also self-determination that we are declaring right now. So I won't go further into this, but I want to say to those who are listening, as we here on the eve of Dr. King's Earth Day, affirm that we must have a nation of our own. We are looking for Black engineers. We are looking for Black bricklayers. We are looking for Black contractors. We are looking for Black lawyers. We are looking for Black teachers. We are looking for Black educators. We are looking for Black defensemen. We are looking for Black nurses. We are looking for Black doctors. We right now are looking to work in establishing self-determination right now. We are looking to work with, have trained, and to train us with the best qualified persons in our nation to start exhibiting self-determination right now on our way to ultimate self-determination. So ballot question number 2 is directed to all Black people, all 40 million of us right now in America who desire what we call in other terms, Black nationalism. To practice nation building within a nation on the way to declaring our nation. So that's ballot question number 2. Do you declare your right to self-determination? Yes or no? Raise your hand, and then we can execute plans with you based on that vote. The next point here, please be patient. I'm trying to move fast because I respect the leaders that are coming behind me, but I don't want to be so fast where you don't understand what I'm saying. But okay, lawful identity. There's an explanation here because Black people consistently, we argue over what our names are. There's still a big debate out there about what our names should be. Okay, and so here we're talking about lawful identity. We're talking about a consensus that has been reached amongst the majority of our leaders about what the lawful identity is. Okay, so let me explain because it explains it in this ballot. Please put the ballot in the chat room also. Constantly put the ballot in the chat room. Lawful identity, explanation. Our people in the United States correctly identify with and describe themselves by many names: Black, African, Indigenous, New African, Moor, American descendant of slaves, foundational Black American, freedman, etc. Lawfully, Afrodescendant is the international recognized legal and political identification that allows our people as a whole to assert their legal and jurisdictional right to reparations and self-determination. Specifically, the term Afrodescendant refers to our people who, number one, whose ancestors were forcibly dispossessed from their homeland, Africa, and transported to the Americas and through the diaspora for the purposes of enslavement. Number two, Afrodescendant refers to our people whose ancestors were subject to crimes against humanity, including but not limited to chattel slavery, mixed breeding, systemic discrimination, land theft, Jim Crow, rape, forced loss of their mother tongue, lost ties from their original identity, destruction of our culture and religion, and suffered ethnocide and specific forms of ethnic cleansing, genocide, and more. Number three, Afrodescendant as a lawful term. Remember, I'm saying as a lawful identity. Refers to people who currently, right now, as a people, who continue to suffer as a result of the above crimes right now: human rights violations, racial discrimination, economic exploitation, loss of land, systemic racism, poverty, wealth disparity, deprivation of education, police brutality, injustice in the U.S. courts, political prisoners, cultural destruction, and continue to suffer the peril of other innumerable and insufferable abuses. This is what we suffer today. Please hear me well. The legal term Afro-descendant has been formally recognized by the United Nations and the leading international courts and human rights authorities, including 19 countries at the UN Conference for the Rights of Minorities in Honduras in 2002, for the purposes of lawfully pursuing our claim under the proper jurisdiction. The representation of the lawful identity Afro-descendant shall not void nor usurp any other cultural, political, racial, organizational, or religious name you currently identify by. What are we saying here? Why do we take time for that? We are not here, and I am not here to try to get any person to come out of the cultural name that they identify by. Some of us here are Muslims. We say, well, who are you? They say, I'm the original man. I'm the Asiatic black man. I'm the maker, owner, cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, God of the universe, as I was taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Farad Muhammad. No one is trying to take you away from that at all. Matter of fact, we mandate here that you keep that. We can keep that. You say, I'm a Moor. And the Moors always say that black does not have jurisdiction. Black does not have lawful authority. Okay, Moore. Mr. Moore, we understand and respect that argument. And that's why today, lawfully, the lawful identification term for pursuing our legal claims is pursued under the name Afro-descendant, meaning that I'm a black man. Fine. I'm a Moor. Fine. Another brother or sister say, I'm a new African. Well, I'm a new African too. Fine. You're a new African. I'm indigenous. I'm a Black Panther. Take me back up for a minute. Take me back up. We are not trying to take you away from your names. You say, I'm Ados. I'm with Ados. I'm ADOS. I'm American descendant of slave. We with you on that. Be that. I'm a foundational Black America. I was here from the beginning. I'm FBA. We with you, FBA. Be FBA. You say, I'm a freedman. They say, be a freedman. Another man say, I'm a Crip. I'm a Blood. I'm Vice Lord. Be all of that. But what we're saying here is that according to precedent and the majority rule of these leaders, that legally and lawfully, as we proceed to international bodies and courts and assert our lawful jurisdiction, we're asking your consent to also lawfully self-identify as an Afro-descendant, okay? Lawfully, unfortunately, on my driver's license, I'm an American citizen. You know, I'm the original man, and I'm a Garveyite, I'm an African, I'm all of that. But I got to pull out that license and bear witness when I get to the airport or somewhere official that lawfully I'm an American citizen, whether I like that title or not. And so ballot question number 3 means that no name or title that we go by are we trying to replace. Keep your name and your titles. We honor them as we harambe, pull our people together. But lawfully, Afro-descendant, we're asking you to consent to lawfully self-identify as an Afro-descendant also for legal purposes. Okay? That's what we're asking. We're not telling you or forcing it on you. We're asking you to vote in this referendum and give us your consent to do so that we may move forward, because we respect you as a people of 40 million. Okay, let's go forward. That's ballot question number 3. Do you lawfully identify? Ballot question number 4. Which of the 4, these are self-determination options. We understand that self-determination is reparations, but it's a form of reparations, because reparations comes in many forms. We'll get to that later. Some want land, some want individual payments, some want institutions. That is not the subject of this plebiscite, although it's the subject of other surveys that are being taken with this plebiscite. Self-determination, we're going to ask ballot question number 4. Which of the 4 options would you prioritize to be pursued as a form of self-determination? Which of the 4 options would you prioritize? Meaning that after consultation with our leaders, we didn't want to force you to choose one or another. In this referendum, we're asking you to rank your priorities. Okay, number 1 on this ballot, to remain a U.S. citizen. How you are asked to vote and to rank your priority of that vote. Number 2, return to Africa under your birthright. How do you vote on that? Where do you rank it? We want consent. We want to know on our ballots. Ballot question number 4, subsection 3, immigration to another country. Do you want to go to Jamaica? I know I do, and I want me a home in Jamaica. That's high on my ballot answer. Do you want to go to Curacao? Do you want to go to Brazil? Do you want to go to Colombia? Do you want to go to another country? Rank your priority. Number 4, the creation of an independent nation on U.S. soil and becoming a sovereign nation that we can call our own. Talk to me, followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Talk to me, followers of the Republic of New Africa, who stated that our New Africa are 5 states in the South in the Black Belt. Where do you rank that on this list? It's on the list. And there will be one more question. Do you desire to create an independent nation on another foreign soil that is not Africa? And that is going to be placed on the ballot, because I must tell you that in this hour that there is land that is being offered to our people throughout what they call the Asiatic world. So come back up to it for 1 second. So I just want you to be clear. Ballot question number 4, we want answered, and we want you to rank your priorities. And we're also not asking to strip anybody of their U.S. citizenship. If you want to remain a U.S. citizen and exercise the other options, that's fine. We don't want to get into a battle behind that. Okay, so the question was a little funny for me, right? But I'm a part of a process. And even this entire ballot, this is not a Malik Zulu ballot. This is not an Afro-descendant nation ballot. This is a ballot with a consent of the overwhelming majority of the leaders that have committed their lives to the reparations process. Let's move to number 5. So I can move to the other leaders, not only get their opinion on this and see how we're going to move on reparations. I do not intend to dominate this meeting, but this is the key subject in this meeting, this history-making ballot. Ballot question number 5, minority status. This question is here is because there are many brothers and sisters who correctly assert that we here as a people, that we were here before Columbus. This question here is on the ballot, recognizing the fact that we are an indigenous people, not only from the Eastern hemispheres, but from the Western hemispheres as well. And in the way the United States government has treated us and classified us legally as a minority, they have greatly stripped us of our rights and our remedies by limiting us and our status and deprived us of the benefits of certain treaties and land and rights, not only in America, but in international forums. That's a backdrop. This question is on the ballot due to a portion of leaders that are with us on the whole ballot. And this question is respectfully, it's entered for them and us. I agree with the question, but it comes from them. This is a process how we got to this ballot. Ballot question number 5. Do you agree to no longer be declared under the status of a minority in the United States? And do you consent to the status of indigenous with all rights and privileges conferred? Yes or no, or I'm unsure, I need more information. That's ballot question number 5 on this referendum. We want to know, do you want to continue to be considered and limited to the category of a minority? Or do you, if you're eligible, to be able to take advantage of your status and your history as an indigenous person? And there is a large body of persons inside of what we call the Black nation in America that identifies as indigenous, and we want you on with us in this process for this ballot. Your question is on the ballot, and you are on board with us. Ballot question number 5. Do you agree to no longer be declared under the status of a minority in the United States? And do you consent to the status of indigenous with all rights and privileges conferred? Yes or no? And if you need more information, that's fine. Let's get that question to the masses. Let's stop talking amongst the scholars and debating amongst the learned or speaking to the choir. And let's get these questions to 40 million of our people before time runs out and we waste the time of our elders and our ancestors who have fought so long to get us to this point. Ballot question number 6. It's only 7, and then I'm going to submit and relent. Thank you for listening to me. I pray I don't waste a second of your time. Ballot question number 6. Do you agree to support your vote in this plebiscite and referendum by supporting legitimate organizational efforts to achieve full and complete reparations and self-determination, including enacting economic sanctions and other necessary political actions? Yes or no? Ballot question number 6 is, do you commit to what you're voting for? Do you commit to take action based on your vote? Do you commit, for example, to shut down Wells Fargo and other banks and financial institutes that have robbed your ancestors? Do you commit to move on the Catholic Church and other entities who set up the transatlantic slave trade, robbed us, and who have hundreds of thousands of businesses worth billions of dollars in America? Do you commit? Do you commit to take actions such as some as that Brother Ramsey has taken and will take? What we know on number 6 is how was the expression of your commitment and how strong are we willing to act. If we're not willing to act in the reparations movement, then this is going to become a theoretical exercise in forums and meetings and diplomacy. And we will be here 20 or 30 years later showing how wise we are and how smart we are and how eloquent we are. And there will be no pressure on the enemy who has robbed us. And right now, I must be honest, there is no pressure on the U.S. government, no pressure on the Catholic Church, no pressure on Western powers, no pressure on corporations and companies that have absolutely robbed and exploited us. If they're doing business carte blanche right now, and by God's grace and with your consent, that must come to an end. The reparations movement must strike a bold, must take bold steps in achieving our goal, or we should just drop it and continue to have conversations. Last question, ballot question number 7. Ballot question number 7, bring it up. This is our ballot, a ballot for our nation, from our leaders, our election. Not an election where we voting for one devil or another devil, Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And Joe Biden is bombing Palestine and bombing Yemen, and he has no respect for human rights. And plenty of Negroes is lining up. I was getting ready to vote. I was going to vote. November, we was getting ready to vote. What the hell has voting in white American elections got us but another imperialist in office? And so we can stand behind that vote, continue to vote with those votes, continue to back the American electoral process that has gotten us nothing. Don't tell me that our ballot don't have effect. This vote is more important than any vote that has ever been taken in the history of the United States of America as it pertains to our people, because it is a vote of our will, our goals, not forced on us by an enemy authority and an enemy we keep placing in office. Ballot question, pardon my whatever I am. Ballot question number 7. Lastly, solidarity. We talking here, this vote here is for Blacks in America, what they call Afro-descendants inside of America. This is for us in America. We don't have authority to collect a vote for Afro-descendants or Black people in Brazil or Afro-descendants in Colombia. They are our brothers and sisters, but we don't have authority. We agree with the brothers and sisters in Africa and the OAU and others that African countries are due for reparations, but we're not conducting a plebiscite, our referendum, our vote for African nations, though we support their efforts. We're in solidarity with them. We're in solidarity with liberation struggles, but we must be clear here. This is about reparations and self-determination for our people here inside of America. That's all the authority that we have. Ballot question number 7. I agree. It should say, do you? Do you agree to the principle of solidarity with other Blacks, or what's called Afro-descendants over here in the Western Hemisphere, who have suffered the above detailed crimes against humanity? And do you consent to receive support from and agree to offer support to Afro-descendant nations, Afro-descendant organizations, and other reparations organizations in the Western Hemisphere and around the world? What are we saying in ballot question number 7? We're saying here, we're asking you, we're not telling you. We're saying, do you support the struggle of our people, of whom they call themselves Afro-descendants in the Western Hemisphere? There are many, many millions of them. Do you agree? Do you agree that you support their efforts for reparations? And do you agree to gain support from them? We're saying, do you agree to support our brothers and sisters in Africa? And do you agree to receive support from them? Yes or no? It's okay for you to answer. Those are the questions. This is our ballot. We shall not turn around. Even in the course of this meeting, as we get on through this meeting, and we're going to take time, we shall not turn back. This ballot is 98% done. There may be a small change here or there, but we are not opening up Pandora's box and going back into another long deliberations and contemplations. We'll be like the United States Congress. The Congress and the Congress has a very low approval rating amongst the American people because they always talking and debating, but they don't ever pass no legislation. At some point, leadership has to exercise a decision based on the majority. And that's what we're here. We're asking your support, leaders who are coming, asking you to and pleading and really demanding that you support this national plebiscite, this national vote, this national ballot that is long overdue and is history in the making. So later on in this meeting soon, Sister Collida will come on here and she will show you the format that the ballot will be conducted on. You've received a text of the ballot that's doing well right now from Google Docs. This vote will not be conducted on Google Docs. Previously, you have voted on text by text message through 877-506-2184. We have advanced beyond that. Those votes count. They'll be converted, but we have advanced beyond a text message system. Black Lawyers for Justice, because we love the efforts that the Honorable Silas Muhammad and the Afro-Descendant Nation are putting forth. We have agreed to put up $3,000 to donate to the Afro-Descendant Nation so that it will have the best voting system that is available on the planet Earth. And it comes with many benefits, and it is very professional so that you as leaders can believe in it, buy into it. This is our plebiscite. This is our vote. This is our time. We must move forward strongly and we cannot turn around. I thank you for hearing from me. I'm looking forward to your feedback. I'm sorry if I offended nobody, but we cannot wait any longer. Honorable Imari Obadeli went on to the ancestors without the plebiscite and the vote being fulfilled. Queen Mother Moore went on to the ancestors without the vote or the plebiscite or an army being raised that will fight this battle and achieve reparations. I could name them all day. John Henry Clark, the Honorable Chokwe Lumumba, the Honorable Khalid Muhammad. I cannot in good conscience not advocate the strongest of aggressive action due to my respect for those ancestors. I respect the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who I struggled with through the Indaba reparations process in 2004. Honors to Dr. Conrad Warrell, who gave his life for this cause. Out of respect for Minister Louis Farrakhan, 91 years old. Out of respect for the Honorable Silas Muhammad, I believe 85 years old. Our elders, we must show our elders better. We must do better. And for you who have been giving your entire lives here, do not be offended by us, ADN, or me, because we are putting forth these aggressive measures of the plebiscite, the ballot, and economic sanctions. We do this because we intend not to talk about it. We must have full and complete reparations in our lifetime. And thank you for hearing my submission. Sorry about the time I took.